questions or comments? Yes.
I'm Jerry Robertson, I live at 14 Sherwood Drive in Wolfville. Mr. Morrison, please, could you bring up the MPS on page 94?
I'm sorry, yes, this was it.
Is that
Rick
possible?
Morrison, do you have that available
On the computer, can you do
on the
that?
MPS?
I'm not sure, I've got the document here, was there some, perhaps?
Well, if you can't bring it up, I've got copies that I can hand out.
Page 94?
Yes, the very last page of the MPS. If you can't bring it up on the computer screen, I'll just hand out my copies.
Okay, Mr. Robertson, yeah, you can direct your comments to.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted to clear up whether or not I could get that on the screen. I am submitting a copy of my presentation to the recording secretary, as I'd like to have the entire presentation in minutes of this meeting. Item 1, the developer has stated that there's a possibility of creating a lane at the back of the proposed building on the north side, which would run behind Pete's. This would be a private lane, and unless Wolfville is an exception, police do not ticket cars parked on a private lane, and the Town Works Department does not plow snow from private lanes. If the proposed building were to have 71 units for students and only 32 parking spaces, those students and their visiting friends would most certainly be tempted to park where they would not be ticketed. This would go against the purpose of the lane, which would be to provide egress from the apartment building. Item 2, I now refer to the map from page 94 of the Wolfville Municipal Planning Strategy. On it, you can see the number of dwellings in each building. Presently, the largest number is 30 at Railtown. However, it can also be seen that to the west of the proposed building, there are 10 units. And otherwise, there are multiple dwellings that are 7, 2, 2, 5, 4, 2, 3, etc. in the downtown core. It is my opinion that the proposed development, which would contain 71 dwelling units, does not fit with the kind of living that Wolfville has. Although there is an expectation of more urban density, I think it would be appropriate to have 30 or 35 dwelling units at this site, in keeping with the present culture of Wolfville. I would like to add that I have experience of living in the midst of urban density. I lived for a total of 7 years in England and for 4 years in Switzerland. Always there were green spaces available in conjunction with the buildings. And in Switzerland, as well as a large green space, nearly all apartments had 2 balconies on opposite faces of the building. Each balcony had a solid wall to above waist level so that the public could not see the contents of the balconies. Item 3. I would like now to refer to the MPS sections 516, 5116, and 5118. To quote 516, to provide for equity within and between generations. 5116, to initiate a long-range planning program in an attempt to provide a context for sustainable community planning and the development of an integrated community plan. 5118, to provide opportunities for a variety of housing options to satisfy the needs of all people. The development proposal is set to provide housing for students, but not for other members of Wolfville's community. It will provide for equity. It will not provide for equity between generations, but rather it will favor young persons aged 18 to 25. I do not see this as an integrated community plan. Item 4.
Thank you very much. We'll just listen to comments.
In the Residential Tenancies Act, I found the following. First, Section 915, subletting premises. The tenant may assign, sublet, or otherwise part with possession of the premises subject to the consent of the landlord, which consent will not arbitrarily or unreasonably be withheld or charged for unless the landlord has actually incurred expense in respect to the grant of consent. Secondly, Section 10A15. No landlord shall charge daily rents to avoid provisions of this act unless the residential premises of a part thereof are licensed pursuant to the Hotel Regulations Act 1993. From the micro boutique living website, I quote, "All leases are for 12-month term, June 1 to May 30th. However, for tenants who vacate their lofts during June, July, and August, we offer 50% summer rent rebate for the time they are away. The tenant landlord agrees to pay for all utilities during the rent rebate period." I may be wrong, but I perceive the rent rebate provision as a contravention of the Residential Tenancies Act. If you refer to the submission of December 20th, 2012 to the Community Development Committee, you will read Section 5123. The use of residential units as a short stay hotel accommodation is permitted at the discretion of the developer so long as the aggregate totally yearly occupancy for the residential units for the hotel purposes does not exceed 33%. I fail to see this exception in the Residential Tenancies Act. Would the town of Wolfville be agreeing to a situation that contravenes provincial law? In summing up, I would like to say that I do want to see downtown Wolfville make progressive changes. However, I feel strongly that this should be done with long and careful consideration to many aspects of the development that have been overlooked thus far. We residents of Wolfville will have to live with the results for many years, and the mistakes will be part of our heritage if we do not get this right the first time.